Holy shit, I cannot believe this. It's not happy with me, but it's working. So the DJI website says that this can hold 4.5 kilos or 10 pounds if you're a yank. The DJI website also said that my old Ronin M could hold 3.6 kilos and I was somehow able to balance my red on that no problem. So with an extra kilo of payload, who knows what this thing's freaking capable of? Let's start super easy. A7S III, 24 to 72.8 G Master Sony lens, approximately 1.5 kilos. Should be no problem, right? The quick release of the small insert base plate has been super practical, but that's pretty good. Yeah, I knew it would balance this because this is the rig I've been using for the last like month and a half. Here's some footage of me using this gimbal with this camera. Thinking of you blue eyes, searching for a reason tonight. Cool, yeah. I love it. It's super light. It's very practical for like event filming and stuff like that. But that's not what I really care about. What I really care about is getting my red on there. So let's try that. Let's get the big dog out and try that. The Dragon X brain alone is about 1.5 kilos. It feels heavier than that, but apparently that's what it is. And when you add the memory card, the battery, this little component here that allows the battery to go on, and the LCD monitor, it's about 2.75 kilos. On top of that, add the lightest lens I have, the 50mm 1.8, which I never actually use, but it's super light. And it's about a 3 kilo setup. Again, they claim the payload of this is 4.5, so this should be no dramas at all. I had a Fuyutech AK4500 before this, and the thing that did my head in with that was it had a base plate that was like just a 1-screw base plate. So as soon as you'd have anything that was kind of heavy on it, it would just twist as soon as it went off axis. But this, I don't know if it was designed for this, but this has this squared off hold on the back of it, and it slots in so perfectly there, and how it fits smugly at the front. I truly believe that this was designed for a red camera. They haven't advertised it. Usually they'd flex on something like that, but yeah, it blew my mind when I was like, oh my God, that is insanely practical. Because now, even though it's only 1 screw, it won't twist. Genius. I just cannot believe this. How does something so small and so cheap balance a freaking cinema camera with ease? Now, it's kind of awkward because it's very tall, and that does throw the center of gravity off, so you really have to go right down. On my Ronin M, when I balance this, I'd turn it upside down, but given the base plate situation and I want to run a battery on it instead of off it, it's quite problematic and you can't actually do that to lower the center of gravity. As well as the LCD sticking up all dicky-like. I mean, it balances, it's fine, it'll work, but it's not ideal. Still, I digress, it's relatively balanced and it should grab, and it should be able to hold any offsets that will cause. It's probably best to, whenever you balance something new, it's probably best to calibrate. It scares the heck out of me because it makes this noise. Ready? That noise is terrifying. But now it's calibrated and it should be sweet to go. About 2 years ago, I paid $10,000 to buy a Ronin 2 and a bodysuit to balance my red on a gimbal and get dolly smooth footage. And now I've just paid $1,200 and I can get just that. It's essentially taking the piss. I would happily take this on a shoot. That is like, this is no problems at all. There's clearance at the back. The only problem, I wouldn't take that lens on a shoot. A lens I would take on a shoot is something like this. A 70 to 200 Canon 2.8. This is almost 1.5 kilos by itself. The immediate problem we're gonna have is the clearance at the back. Because of how long this is, the compensation is to push it back. Manageable clearance, that's probably as far back as we can get it, but it's still too front heavy. Counterweights. All the 1/4-inch thread holes are on the top of the red, which if we were to put weight up there, it would just make the displacement of the center of gravity so much worse. So we need to attach them to the bottom to bring it down. I'm thinking we put this on there and then slide that in, and then we can build off of that to displace the weight however we choose. So between when you last saw me, I got very frustrated. I realized what I was doing wasn't working, so I decided to go full Frankenstein and so basically what I've done is like attached a base plate to another base plate, to a cheese plate, to a bendy rod, to all my counterweights to lower the center of gravity, put them off the back to offset the balance, and get the lens coherent with the rest of the rig, so it might actually work. I haven't been this sweaty and frustrated in a long, long time, so I really hope this works. I think I've got it. Okay, so as much of a piece of shit as this looks like, I feel like the motor should be able to compensate for whatever imbalance we have. Do the noise, do the noise. Oh my God, it's like an earthquake. I mean, it's working. I don't think it loves it. It's not happy with me, but it's working. When you add the counterweights, which is about 500 grams, all this other propaganda, it's probably close to about 7 kilos, maybe more. And I mean, it worked. It wasn't great, but it worked. So it's impressive to see that this actually can hold something beyond its payload. It's only just over its payload though, so I'm guessing the biggest problem is like the kinetic distribution of weight. It's more of like an inertia problem. These are just the biggest words I know. I'm throwing them at you because I think they're like weight momentum orientated. Now the final thing I've always dreamed of balancing is my Anamorphic, which is approximately 3 kilos. The only other thing I've wanted to balance, and the only thing that would stop me selling my Ronin 2 right here, right now, is this lens. My Anamorphic Atlas Orion, beast of a thing. It's about 3 kilos and it dwarfs even the 70-200. It's a fair bit larger. Are you kidding me? This is taking the piss. This is properly, like, I mean, oh, it's kinda there, right? I'm kinda scared to turn it on because if I break my Ronin 2 and then try and claim insurance, they'll probably see this video and realize that I've completely cooked it myself. It does work. I don't think I'd ever use this. And I'm praying that this doesn't break my Ronin 2. Oh, we almost had it. So there you go. I think the max weight of the Ronin 2 is probably about 6 or 7 kilos. I mean, if you can counter, I feel like you can get away with counterweighting anything. If you appropriately weight it, it shouldn't be any strain on the motors, but I think I'm doing something wrong here. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I'd love to be able to get this to the point where I can take it on and shoot and not worry about the Ronin failing on me. Anyway, thanks heaps. See you next time. Love you.